Okay, our beloveds. So, here is where we find ourselves today. The collective is moving through the remainder of this month, and while energetically there really is no time per se, so there is no January, February, March, you know what we mean. But because you all have created this construct and rely so heavily on quarters, years, things like that, we have adjusted much of our lessons into that general guideline or construct. It is not literal, but it still is meant to give you all some structure on what it is that we are sharing with you all. So our Another is going through her own journey, which is a rough tidal wave road. And you all are beginning to find your own unique rhythms to life as well, where you find bliss and ease and where you find turbulent waters. And so we will once again refer you back to the river of life. You are all on different segments or sections of the same river, if you will, but you will find patterns and commonality in your experiences. You will find that oftentimes ripples in time occur in threes. How people around you will have issues which are somehow in alignment with their unique journey and yours with yours, and that some of the experiences that have been pre-designed for their lives weren't pre-designed for yours, because it does not assist in your learning experience, but it does in theirs. And there's no judgment or shame in those who have more difficult life journeys. For example, a heroin addiction or homelessness or something like that. It is part of their plan to learn to overcome their limitations, their lack of love for self. But where you harm another is where it differs, because when you harm another, it is not only you that you affect directly, but also another. And your journeys are very interconnected to teach both of you something. But simply put, where you have harmed another, it is your responsibility to show up and to make the other person whole somehow. And if you don't, there are karmic responsibilities that will be extracted from you in one form or another. So now we're going to give you a very specific example. If you have wronged a person in a contractual arrangement and you stiffed somebody, your karmic responsibility will be that you lose the money that was never yours, that you get what is owed to you, and the other person will receive what is owed to them. So now, if you refuse to pay it directly to that individual, the universe now, in this new construct of unconditional love, the age of Aquarius, we will lop off your arm, send it through the mail, and give it to the person whom you have harmed. You may not give it to them directly, but the universe will find a way of evening out the playing fields so that you only end up with what is yours rightfully, And the other person will end up with what is theirs rightfully. So if you think you can shortchange somebody by being clever and crafty and legally reprehensible, it won't work in these new energies, because the balance of justice is probably the most prevailing energy that's coming in now. And you will see this as many more of the Me Too movement stories come into the public eye. People are tired of hiding their shame in the shadows when it is not their shame to hide. It is somebody else's. And to be told that you should not share this information in the public domain because it is somehow uncool begs the question why anyone would think that. If somebody has harmed you, you have a right to publicly speak about it. But you all have been taught that somehow it's not proper, it's not politically correct to say, I have been raped or sexually assaulted by my neighbor. But why not? If it happened and it's not slander, why are people not permitted to speak up honestly? Why do others feel the need to try to shut them down and shame the victim when it is the perpetrator that is at fault? And this is the energy that is coming in now. The first 3 months have percolated much of these emotional conversations and discussions. And for the remainder of this year, so for the next 9 months, much of this will continue to play out, but more in the public eye. Weinstein, Epstein, Cosby, these are the big players who took advantage of women. Would you say that these women should never have come forward because somehow it is shameful to bring up the violation that they have experienced? And if you feel this, the question that you need to ask yourself is why? Why does a woman sharing how she has been violated make you feel uncomfortable? Is it because you yourself have done such a thing and therefore are worried that you will be exposed? Or is it that you don't want to see the male genitalia hanging from a flag, saying that this genitalia has harmed womankind with its forceful behavior, for its lack of responsibility, for its unkind and unloving behavior? Why must a woman hide in shame when she has already been shamed? Allow her to share her story. And yes, there are men who have been treated in a similar manner, but let's be honest. The primary area where it has been hidden is in pedophilia and abuse geared towards women. It is the patriarchy creating dominion over women, telling women that they need to know their place within the home and within the societal construct. And that has come and is coming to an end. And those who have been harmed will now find the energy bubbling up within them, whereby they finally feel safe enough and find the courage to speak up and say, me too. Me too. Me too. It is not for man to judge how woman has felt during these years. It is for woman now to share to man how man can better show up for woman so that woman will feel loved. And when woman feels loved, then man will receive the respect that they feel is owed to them. Respect is not owed. Respect is earned. And you will find as the scales of justice come in now, and wobble a bit to find that center point. Many a man on their side of the equation will find themselves being flown about as words and stories of their inability to show up and be compassionate and loving are shared now. And it is not to shame them. It is merely to hold them accountable and responsible for their behavior so they can stop making excuses, so that they can go within and begin to heal their own inner trauma, so that they themselves can show up as real men, as men were always intended to be expressed within this yin-yang, male-female dance. It's not one over the other. It is equality. It is dominion over self and love for others. And it is simply to be an expression of unconditional love by holding yourself out to be that person that you want other people to be. It is that simple. So, be the change that you either want to see in the world or that you advocate others to be in the world. Stop being hypocrites. You cannot expect the outside world to be what you yourself are not. It starts within. And so it is. Namaste.